fuck inspiration. Inspiration means shit. Inspiration is the most fickle bullshit thing. Inspiration comes and goes when it fucking wants to. It's the most unreliable friend. This dude, don't ever ask inspiration to take you to the airport. Inspiration fucking blows. You have to rely on your discipline, on your own scheduling, on your own will to die or live. Like that, all you can rely on is you pushing through and doing it anyway. To rely on inspiration for anything, it's like relying on inspiration to fucking get in shape. Okay, so you're gonna work out once every month? Like inspiration is fucking useless. F- it. Welcome to Loose Ends, episode 2. You know exactly who I am, I think. Well, if you're a patron, you're hearing this first, therefore you know who I am. And you also know my co-host, who's always with me. I'm Mr. Alexander Volz. Say hello.
Hello.
This is the Loose Ends series. This is our spin-off series. This is our Frasier. This is our, Saved by the Bell, the college years. This is picking up where our previous episode was incomplete, I guess. So if an artist that we previously covered is not or has released an album after our episode, we cover it here. We did the first one with Body Counts, Loose Ends episode 1. They released Carnivore. And then this episode, who are we talking about, Alex?
We're talking about X.
This is Alphabetland from X. This was released last year now, 2020. And also, yeah, before any of this, you should check out the full episode on X. It's episode 14. It was actually our first YouTube episode. So it's a little rough, but you know, you got to start somewhere. We have humble beginnings and humble current state of affairs, humble life, humble future. We're hungry. So if you want to check that out for the full discography. For a brief synopsis, I like X. Alex is fine with X, doesn't love him, and I don't think any of us have gone back. And I'm pretty sure one of the members of X hates me. That's very true. I'm not kidding. But if you, for anyone, patrons, thank you all for fucking, I say patronizing because it's funnier, but yeah, thank you all for patronizing us. It's very wonderful that we are being supported by our wonderful and supportive fans. I just said supportive twice. I'm getting redundant. I don't know. I didn't plan this out, dude. We've done 2 Loose Ends episodes. I have no idea how to intro this.
Also, Loose Ends are a little looser, and I like that you call them patronizers. I think it's funny, and I don't know if anyone else does that. So, and if they don't, they're all idiots, and you should.
I'm smarter than everyone. That you heard it here. But okay, so this is gonna be out a month later from now. If you're hearing this on the main feed, welcome. You should probably listen to a regular episode though. They're much more thorough. But okay, X, Alphabetland, a band I did not think we were gonna go back to. Didn't expect them to release a new album.
No, I thought someone in this band was gonna die.
We both thought Exene was doomed health-wise.
Yes.
But thankfully she's not. She's alive and singing. And this is okay. First interesting thing about this, it's because they've been reunited for a few years, touring around. They finally decided to record a studio album, full original lineup.
Yes, first time in 35 years, I think, which maybe I hate putting exact numbers on shit after the Jeff Buckley episode. I fucked a lot of shit up on that, and I take not credit but responsibility.
He takes full credit for fucking. No, I mean that's what happens when disclaimer, folks. We're using a lot of Wikipedia and we check the sources, but we're not going to be fucking reading full ass. Like this is not a history podcast. God damn it.
I'm not going to go two sources deep. I know better, but I also like talking about music that doesn't have any awful repercussions. Like if I was talking about like the state of the Middle East or something.
Right. That's our other podcast.
Every country ever with Mike and Alex. But roughly 35 years in the making. First album in 27 years. Which, if people go back and listen, I thought the album that's not streaming,
Jesus,
nice little surprise.
So the last album was 93, I believe. Jesus. I believe that was your personal favorite for the episode. And man, we were both so caught off guard with how much we liked that album. Like
It's amazing.
It is a complete blindsider of an album. Does not get talked about. It's not streaming. No, and it seems like, I think it was like, well, it was negatively received as well, right?
Yeah, it was.
So we went in thinking like, yeah, this is going to be like the weird Black Sheep shitty album out of the bunch. No, it's just a very cool noise rock album. Well, it's not noise rock, but it's like in the same spirit of noise rock.
And you know what I learned with this album, Alphabetland, is that X is just a beacon and benchmark of consistency and quality.
So you like this album?
As someone who doesn't love X, and we're at the time of recording coming off the heels of like the New York Dolls, and before that Stooges, and I'm sure we've done some other older bands who have like tried to do comeback albums like 30 some years, 20 years after, their heyday or whatever.
40 years in the case of New York Dolls.
Yeah.
No, it was 30. You're right. Never mind. Ignore me.
I was really like surprised. I think it's solid. Like, I think fans of X will like it. It's not going to win anybody over if you don't like X, but I think this speaks to like how good musicians they are, that they can like put this album out, and I think it stays true to who they are.
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this album as well. Yeah. Like I thought that I had super low expectations going in. But it's, reunion album. I'm expecting like, okay, it's fine. And worst case,
let's rip this Band-Aid off.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, you get a Black Flag, which was a fucking nightmare. Ooh, episode 24, we did do Black Flag. So, that's like the far end of the spectrum, and the great, what's like a really good example of the best case scenario.
I guess Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest is usually our go-to for best case reunion scenario. Was that a reunion? That was a reunion album, right? Thank you for your service.
They had been away for a very long time. Yes, they had not recorded in like 20 some years. I believe.
But anyway, it's not. I don't think this is amazing at all. Like you said, it's not going to win anybody new over. But it's like old X. It feels like old X. Mid 80s era, early to mid 80s era X. Fast punk rock and roll, like heavily rock and roll inspired punk.
Also, sometimes heavier acts, when they get older, they slow it down a bit. And not that X was ever like Slayer, but it's nice. Like, they still got it. I know it's a re-recorded song, but hearing like Delta 88 Nightmare, it's just like, yeah, you guys can still do it.
Oh yeah, that's
Billy's
that song is jarringly fast compared to the rest of the songs here. Like, that's like, because most of them are fast-ish. They're 70s punk fast. But that song actually is like, they're old, but they can still move.
Yeah, it's very nice. I think the way John Doe and Xena sing too probably lends to them aging gracefully. They don't have they aren't traditional singers. They don't, hit like falsettos. No. There's not screaming. They kind of have like this. I like your like kind of zombie impression you did on our X episode, where it's just like,
right. Like, yeah. They're very middle of the road. They use the comfortable part of their range and they stick to it, and it's good for.
It works for them.
Yeah,
it works for them.
And not to mention that I was also like super gushy about they didn't do it. They did it throughout all their career, but it was the most prominent on Los Angeles, which is like that fucking duality is such a fucking blowhardy word, but like that kind of, it's like they were they're dancing or something. Like they would take turns singing and they'd harmonize for one line, and then one would stop in the middle of the line, the other one would come in. Like it felt like they were dancing when they were singing together. Mm-hmm. So even if they weren't the most impressive vocalist, that little dynamic always made it very fun.
Yeah, they figured out a way to make it work. Also, a little bit of history. It wasn't. It kind of aligned with the 40th anniversary of Los Angeles, their debut album.
Right. Yeah, 1980.
but it wasn't supposed to. But because of the pandemic, they were like, we're not going to tour. People need like a pick me up or something. They need something good. So, and they're like, well, just put it on streaming early because you can do that, and then we'll worry about record sales early. So that is a very nice thing to read about.
That is very sweet, very thoughtful. I kind of wish I heard it in the year 2020 instead of, as of right now, January 24th, 2021.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like, I mean, there's still some shit I'm not. I mean, like Free, I don't think that's great. And Water and Wine is fun, really? But ultimately uninteresting rock and roll stuff.
I thought I wasn't so like the opening track is
title track, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little more like pop punky.
I like it. I actually like it a lot.
Oh no, I think it works.
You know what's funny about? Go ahead, keep going.
I'm using like pop punk as like a base of reference. It's not like full on like Blink 182 or whatever.
Yeah. It's so that song, the title track, man, it uses the same chord changes as the song I haven't heard in years, and no one's gonna know this reference. Maybe like some weird nerd. It's a song called "Disgrace" by a little band called the Speedometers.
Weird nerds are 80% of our fan base.
I love you guys so much, but it was like a single in maybe 79, 80, something like that. Early punk band. Nobody band. It's a nobody band. These guys, they're called the Speedometers. It's a fucking like the most whack, boring, generic name. And this song, Disgrace, was so fucking awesome, and it was so fun. And it uses the same chords, which is A, C sharp, E. And I'll never forget those chords because like I remember I was playing it when I was a teenager in the car with my mom. And she's got like a really good ear, and she like named the chords that they were while the song was playing. And I was like, I wonder if that's correct. I'm gonna go fact check that. So I played it on guitar. I was like, she was right. God damn it. But it reminded me of that. It's a different song, same chord changes, but it's a very different song. But it did bring me back. Everyone should listen to that song, by the way, "Disgrace" by the Speedometers. But long way of saying, fun song, good chords.
Yeah. Also, if people have Apple Music and they click the read more thing, they name drop all these like weird bands they were influenced. Not weird. I guess it's like older, like Water and Wine. They talk about this group called Sharon and the Clams, and it's just like,
it's a great name for a band.
Yeah, it is a great name, and it's especially like a surf rock band, which I think.
Wait. Is it an all-girl group?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I just read.
It's way less funny if it's not an all-girl group.
Yeah. So you can like see all these like interesting little bands like John Doe drops in those notes. But yeah, it's kind of like a surf rock song mixed with Chuck Berry, which isn't a stretch for what X does.
For sure.
I was surprised you didn't like Free, though. That to me is like the first. What's the second track? It's like traditional X. That's when I was like, oh, okay, they still.
Yeah. So, my God, I'm falling back on the most cliche phrases, like in a nutshell. At the end of the day, like What I want to say is that as a cohesive whole album, I was very disappointed that they did not pick up where Jesus left off, which of course they weren't. Of course they weren't.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was such an interesting and unexpected direction that was working, maybe not financially or professionally, but I thought it was cool. So I was craving that, but it is still like nice and fun, and it still actually works. And a lot of, I don't understand why they re-recorded Cyrano de Bergera's Back, but I always loved those songs, so I'm not mad at that.
John Doe said the 3 songs they re-recorded was he got like he didn't say this. He got like George Lucas disease, and he didn't like the way they sounded, so he's like, let's make better versions and call them special editions.
Man, like that George Lucas thing of stuff. It's historically a bad idea. Like I can't.
But it kind of works on this.
I like it. It fits in with the album great. It's still an awesome song. Here's the reason why I'm also less offended by it. It's been so fucking long since I've heard what the hell is the album called that it's on originally?
I think that's another reason they did it is because it was like it's on like a slept on album.
Yeah, it was oops, that's the wrong one. I think it's See How We Are. Yeah, it's See How We Are.
Yeah, I remember both of us gushing about that song,
Yeah.
and it's still fun, and especially to like compare, like, oh man, what Fear did.
Yeah.
Man,
Ooh,
that's like an abomination. Or it's like, okay,
that was
you didn't
literally.
need to re-record.
Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, you don't need to re-record these songs, but it's fun the way they did it. These sound good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and so okay, so one thing that I was disappointed by was that they're not this weird 90s noise rock band anymore. They're back to being fun punk X. The second thing was in my heart, my dearest, my love, Billy Zoom, whom I love so deeply.
Yes.
I'm so glad he's back. He's so glad he's back, but he was not going crazy. It's like it's pretty like they're older.
Yeah.
Everybody's slowed down and they sound fine, but no one's blowing my mind except for Star Chambered.
Oh, that's an interesting pick.
I really like that song.
I'm gonna go back to it. I thought it was okay, but
that there's a whole solo section with this fucking Egyptian ass sounding guitar harmonies, and it's like it comes out of nowhere. There's nothing like it on the rest of the album, and it was like, oh yeah, I forgot they still do random shit like that every now and again. Billy Zoom is still Billy Zoom, even though he's older. Where was
I?
What?
Where was I?
I don't know, Alex. You tell me, huh? But you know,
he plays saxophone a few times.
Yeah, he plays it on Cyrano de Berger's back. I think there was saxophone on the original as well.
Yeah,
that's right. He's like a multi-instrumentalist. Yeah, he's the best. Billy Zoom's the fucking best.
Yeah, and then it's so funny because they did Goodbye Year Goodbye, which is appropriate. And then that's like the closer, and I'm like, how do you not close with that? But then
All the Time in the World, like this beatnik poetry thing that has it's like an
epilogue.
Yeah, it's a beatnik noir poem type thing. I like it. I kind of like it.
Yes, and if people know John Doe and Xena, they like noir. Xene, sorry. They like poetry, they like noir stuff, so it's perfect. But that has Zoom playing piano and Robbie Krieger of the Doors on guitar on that track.
Oh, that's right. I remember reading a little thing about that. That's very cool.
Yeah, we talked about that in the episode that like he produced a few of their albums.
I thought it was Raymond Zarek.
Oh,
yeah,
wait.
It was Raymond Zarek who produced X's first 4 albums.
They love the Doors.
Oh yeah.
Is what I'm getting at.
And
they love the Doors.
Their cover of Soul Kitchen on the first album is one of my favorite covers of all time.
It's
so good.
Probably. So good. I apologize if I said it, but I think the X version's probably better than the Doors version.
I agree. I actually agree. Yeah. Despite all the who gives a shit, man. I think it's fun. It's got great percussion in it. What else did I have written down? Fucking A. I don't know. Actually, one last thing that I really, really appreciated and I was not expecting, and reunion albums, in my experience, never do this. Short as fuck. Super short.
Yes.
27 minutes. Tasteful.
That's another reason it works for me.
Yeah.
That's another reason it works for me. It's like, okay, that was nice. They just like they know their lanes. They're gonna stay in them, and it's just it's just like a nice hug if you're a fan of the band.
Yeah. So all relieved that it's not their worst. We would not give it a worst if this was on a main episode. No, our least favorite. Good stuff.
Yes, it would steer clear of any of those accolades.
Also, Xene's still alive, and she sounds her age on All the Time in the World. because she's just talking. You could hear her like her oldness in her voice. Like, oh fuck, man, time happens. It's scary.
I guess the other like the other re-recorded song is "I Got a Fever," and that was released as "Heater" on their anthology.
Mm-hmm.
And they rewrote the lyrics for that one. So that one, I mean, they all have something. They're different, but still the same.
But also, if it wasn't on like a studio album, then
a main album.
Yeah, I at least haven't heard it. So it's not like it doesn't feel so much like a. I mean, nothing will be as offensive as Fear re-recording the record, or honestly, Suicidal Tendencies re-recording their first album, because that was a fucking travesty as well.
Yeah, those are probably the two biggest main offenders.
Yeah.
Remember for like a little while in the early 2000s, like a lot of bands would like, I think like Motorhead did it, or like Sex Pistols, it'd be like Anarchy in the UK 2005 edition or some. It was this really weird trend of like re-recording songs and calling it like the 2000 whatever edition.
It was rampant. I remember this is going to be a wild pull of a story, but there was this crossover thrash band called Vermont, and I was a big fan in my teens. And man, if anybody's heard of Vermont, you fucking message me. But so I was a fan of theirs. Like in high school, they only had two albums, and they were really cool, really fun, really super party guys, And when I was 17, they reunited for like one show in San Francisco. And the girl I was with at the time, who is a whore, by the way, but the girl I was dating at the time, she was also a huge fan. And
it's not a real episode if Mike doesn't bring up an ex.
Am I that guy now? God damn it. So she made friends with the drummer on MySpace back in the MySpace days. And
damn, dude, you were like 10.
I was not. I was 17. I mean, come on, I'm not that young.
I feel like you were 17 like 5 days ago.
I really wish it was more like 11 years ago, but I really wish. I don't wish I was 17. I was a fucking jackass. But she made friends with the drummer, and we decided to fucking drive up to San Francisco. And by us driving up, we mean have her mom drive us, because we were 17, to San Francisco for one night for this reunion show, right? And man, this is a ridiculously barely related story. It's barely related, but I'm still gonna go through with that. There's a point.
You got to fill up the hours.
You're goddamn right I do. So we drive to San Francisco. Her mom fucking hated me, by the way. And I was it was like a packed car with like these, let's just call them big people. And we get there, we meet the drummer. He introduces us to the whole band, and we're hanging out with the whole band the whole time. And it's doubly weird, because not only are we hanging out with this band, but he's like offering us coke and fucking weed and all that. He's being a dude, but we're fucking 17 and he's like 42. It's just really weird. And
damn, dude, putting that band on blast.
I forgot. Yeah, I hope they're not still around. I still like them. Whatever. That was weird though. It's unquestionably weird. He was definitely trying to fuck my girlfriend. But we're hanging out with them the whole night, and it was a very fun night. And I meet all the members in there. Most of them, and it's like looking back on it, the members of the band who were more distant and more kind of like, they were friendly, but they're like, all right, were clearly the more stable, and like, you guys are kids, I'm not gonna fucking hang out with you. like those are like the really like, the cool ones in retrospect. But basically my entire point is, this band reunited for one show, right? They did not have like a huge following. We drove up because we're fans, but like, they reunited for one show, and even them, they just thought about like, should we? You guys think we should like re-record some of our old songs, re-release them? Like, for who? Like,
yeah,
like you guys are great, but buddy, like, you're not.
For the 10 people in attendance.
Yeah, they weren't even headlining. They literally like it's. So it absolutely was a trend of punk bands and thrash bands and whatnot re-recording stuff, and it's like, I mean, maybe just try something new. maybe. Like, I think you have as good a shot of making a dent with a new song than re-recording older ones when you weren't exactly like the biggest band to begin with.
I wonder if it was like a sales. I don't know.
I mean, it was obviously for money, but
yeah, there's got to be some sort of like marketing money reason for it.
Yeah, interesting, man. I sure hope none of them see this. That'd be fucking really embarrassing. I wonder if I still. No, I think I still have photos like of that whole trip for a while, but I think they're gone. Just as well. I looked awful. And also, everybody in those photos like definitely hates me now at this point, or vice versa, for that matter. But that's the only thing I got to riff off of that.
Very unprofessional of me right now, but are we going for an hour here?
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, dude, if I can pull an hour out of my ass by myself, we can pull one together.
Yeah, I guess. All right, fuck it. Like Loose Ends is a fucking
it's always
quick album review and then random stories.
That's what it is. Yeah, absolutely what it is. That's what happened with the first one, the body count one.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just share a story of when I met a band and it was weird.
I have more of these stories, so I'm glad you're going to continue with this.
I got two. I only got two. So I have a friend Kirsty, and she would have people from like Finland come and visit her. And one of her friends was like, "Oh, I need a ride to a gig. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Sure." And she used the word gig. And in my head, that is a bar, a small club, or a backyard.
Right.
So we go, it's fucking Chain Reaction. Yeah. Which I guess that's a gig.
Yeah, it's a club in Anaheim, for those who don't know. I've performed there. It was rough.
It seems rough. Yeah. But her friend was the singer in a band called Comeback Kid. Who I don't like. I don't like that fucking band.
Okay.
But he was like really cool with me, and I didn't pay to go in, and it was weird. I went in. I watched like one, maybe two songs, and I'm just like, I can't. And I went and used my cell phone until the show was over.
Ooh. Rough.
And it's a real small venue. And then so the show ends. I go back in the green room. He's like, "Hey man, I noticed you ducked out like on the second song." And I was just like, "Why? Why are you paying attention to me? Like you have all these like adoring fans."
That's so sad. Oh, you're a bad guy, Alex. Oh, you're a horrible person.
I just straight up told him like, "Yeah, I don't like, your music's not for me, man. Like, no offense." And I feel like he respected me because of it. And I ran into him one more time, and he was like, he was drunk, and he's like, "Oh, fucking Alex," and I feel like he respected me for like. You gotta be
authentic. You gotta be yourself, man. You can't fucking like. What are you gonna do? Make up a lie? And it's just then you just feel shittier because you're a liar now, and like just to not hurt someone's feelings. I mean, sometimes you just, hey man, not for me.
I think also he was like, "Oh, this guy's not going to like try to like latch onto me for superficial reasons or like try to hang out with me. I can just like be a normal person around." So
oh man, that's brutal. And that actually just is a sort of a really clear cut window into artists and musicians, how fucking fragile and frail we are. Like we get all the fucking positive feedback or whatever, and then you get one person's like, "I thought it was kind of boring." Like, why? I work so hard on my stuff. Like it's always like the one that fucking sticks in your craw. It's really stupid. You kind of have to like step outside of your body and look at it like a lawyer. Like, okay, how many said this and how many said this? Okay, well you have 1 negative and 12 positive. Then there it is. It's facts. Just look at it like a fact. But feelings are taken into account that way.
Also, that dude's in a band touring a world. Like he shouldn't listen to me.
He shouldn't. And logically, no one should. But that's just not the way. I mean, it takes a
People
lot.
deal with feedback. Yeah.
It takes a lot to step out of yourself and do that. Like, that's why nowadays, I've always been pretty honest, and that's not always been the nicest thing. But now I'm like brutally honest. Unless I have to see that person again and it's like an awkward. If I have to be brutally honest and I'm expected to be honest, I'm going to be brutally honest. And I don't know. I feel like I'm almost regressing because I'm losing sympathy. Like I'll be brutally honest, knowing that it's going to hurt their feelings, but like you have to be able to take it. Like you're playing that game. That's the game. We're on fucking YouTube, dude. It's like we're ripping off our shirts saying, "Shoot me, please." That's like literally. That's what we're doing. Not literally. But that's the whole point.
You went full Larry David in your 20s.
Oh, dude, it's really bad. That's the fictional character I get compared to the most. It's kind of worrying, but yeah, like that's why I don't feel so bad literally critiquing shit on a weekly basis, because if anybody has a problem with it, all of my shit is on full display. You can go listen to all of my music and talk shit if you want, but I fucking bet you won't, because it's actually pretty good. But the thing is, it's there. It's fucking there for you to do it. Like, that's why, like, I'm playing the game with you guys. Like, you kind of have to stop being a bitch about it. That's honestly the only way. Like, you to be able to take the punches.
It's funny you bring that up, because I was talking to my friend Vinny before this, and we were talking about how that relates in the world of pro wrestling, and I'm just like, you know what? Like, at the end of the day, like, when you make something that's meant to be consumed, movies, music, wrestling, it's like that's the game you play. Like, there's gonna be criticisms, and like you want people to like it. So it's like this weird, like, oh well, you don't know. You don't work in the business, so what the fuck do you know? But also, like, please like me.
Yeah, it's actually really funny when you think about any media, musician, artist, actor, any person that has the persona of I don't give a fuck is in the business of please like me. Their business is please, for the love of Christ, like me. But they have
our business.
Please, shit.
We tell you at the beginning of the episode to like us.
Please like us. But also, like, why would you like us? What the fuck would you like us? What's likable? I don't know. But some people do, and that's why fucking patrons are hearing this first, because they like us enough to fucking patronize us. But I don't know, man. The internet's a giant place, and the world is fucking huge, and no one agrees on anything, and that's like, I don't care. You don't. It would be really, really boring. Like if everybody agreed, even if you take into account like the crazy, violence aspect of what comes from disagreement. It's still, if there was zero disagreement, life would be a lot more boring. I'll take the bad if that's what it means.
Damn, I wasn't ready for that poll. I don't know how to fucking segue.
That's the episode. Good night.
Good night. Also, if you're watching the video version, I'm not drinking Faygo tonight. It's this a normal wild cherry Pepsi.
Dude, no more Faygo. Thank the Lord.
I'm done with that. Although I saw they have a peach one, and I'm like, no.
Peach Faygo. Dude, peach of any beverage, I've always been vehement. What's a protester of? I will picket peach flavored things. I hate peach things. Change my mind. What's a good peach thing?
Dude, we're like polar opposites. If I see like a peach iced tea, I'm about that shit.
You're a peachman?
Fucking, I'm a peachman.
Dude, I'm an impeachment.
Ooh, dude, Snapples. Over in LA, we got these Asian tea places or boba.
Yeah,
which doesn't make sense because sometimes you don't get boba. I'm going straight for that peach green tea, dog.
Interesting. Well, honestly, I'm not a big beverage guy. I drink water, coffee, and then sparkling water when I want to get spicy. Booze maybe if I on the rare occasion I'll have some booze, but I don't like sweet I love sweet. Listen, hey, I'm getting all of it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I love desserts. I fucking love me some pastries. I love me some fucking cookies. I don't like sweet drinks. Sweet drinks.
Interesting.
The taste lingers. It feels like I'm just drinking sugar. Like there's no satisfaction at the end of it for me. So I usually avoid all sugary drinks. For like LaCroix and fucking, flavored sparkling water. I always prefer that specifically because there's no aftertaste.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of the reasons people don't like those drinks because it has like a little bit of bitterness. That's specifically the reason I like it. Yeah.
I try to only do the caffeine if I have a headache, which I'm not even supposed to do. But like at this point, I realized even, and I think all people do this, even when I'm in pain, I have a ritual, and even if it doesn't technically make me better, it feels good.
Oh,
and there's
yeah.
there's just something about a cold, caffeinated, sugary beverage when I have a headache.
Really?
It doesn't give me relief, but it's just like for a few seconds, it just fucking
fuck. That is the straws that we have to grasp at when we get fucking migraines. Like fucking anything, just please.
Oh, dude, yeah. If people live in chronic pain, you will take 5 seconds of of bliss.
Man, that's a bummer.
Now I'm trying to think of other like peak. Oh, dude, you see like Golden Peak.
Golden Peak. I don't think so. I'm gonna Google that.
Those are like in the store, and I'm not the only one because whenever I go for those recently in the grocery stores, fucking more often than not sold out. I gotta get to the store early to get to the peach ones.
Oh, Gold Peak.
So I'm not the only one.
Gold Peak. I think I've seen this before. Never tried it. Honestly, like
usually,
go ahead, keep going.
Oh, usually you'll see them like at restaurants, like they'll have the soda machine and then they'll have like the Gold Peak thing with like maybe like a sweet tea, an unsweetened tea, and then if it's a good one, they'll have like a green or raspberry or peach thrown in there.
Dude, I'm one of the psychos that drinks unsweetened tea from like a KFC.
I've learned to like an unsweetened tea.
It's really bad. It's like a legit bad drink.
Is it?
It's like not what's good about it? It's just fucking leaves, but cold.
I don't know. Also, I don't drink coffee, so like
that's an also bad drink that I drink lot.
Yeah. So like unsweetened teas, like as far as I'll go for unsavory beverage. I guess I'll use the term unsavory.
Unsavory.
It doesn't really. Yeah, I'm never like sitting there like, ooh, I could go for an unsweetened tea right now.
Honestly, the reason I usually go for the unsweetened tea is because I'm at a junk food place and it's either that or tap water because I'm not drinking the soda.
And they act like assholes when you're like, can you just put like, I don't care, I'll pay for the medium cup, just fucking put water in it. And they're like, are you sure?
Yeah,
like,
they get fucking like their circuits start like crossing and they start like malfunctioning because like no one does that and they don't know if it's like if you're gonna come back later and complain because you paid for a thing and then they gave you a thing that was technically free.
Yeah.
Like really though, the few people that ask for that, they're just like, listen, man, not everyone wants to drink this shit. Like I know I'm eating junk food. I'm a hypocrite. I get it. Just indulge my hypocrisy, please.
Yeah. To me, it's like, yeah, it's bad enough. I mean, just let me cut the one bad thing.
Yeah, honestly,
baby steps.
You can say baby steps, but I've been doing that for fucking 6 years. Like, I'm a complete and utter hypocrite, dude. There's nothing about.
True.
I man, just thinking about all the people that came for X, and then let's just talk about T. Is like that's my favorite thing about this whole episode.
They went on a weird rant about iced teas for 20 minutes and not the body count kind.
At least with the body count episode, we were talking about music we were listening to, but I feel like we're probably not listening to that much new music. I don't know about you.
Oh no, we've been, as the term you use, little inside baseball, we've been trying to build up our back catalog.
Yeah.
And we have been working day and not day and night, but we've been working on pumping these out for you guys. And give us some sanity to not be like shit. We gotta get it out next.
Yeah, like the closest we came was like, I don't know which episode it was, but it was we recorded the day before it was supposed to be released, so I had to edit it that night and just put everything together. Which it's not like the editing isn't that bad. I have timestamps in the actual file itself, so it's like it doesn't take that long to edit. It's the exporting for the video that's like a real bitch, and scheduling it with all that, and then editing the thumbnails and stuff, and like it's like a whole process. It takes like a minute. It's not hard. It's just tedious, and that stuff takes a long time. So like cramming it the night before is always a real bitch. And having like just like having the freedom to be like, I need this week off because I want to fucking drive to, I don't know, Utah. I don't fucking know. I'm not going to drive to Utah. But the point is, I like to know that I can. And having a backlog is important for that. So actually, one thing I have been listening to, and it's like the time frames of all these are all jacked up. But we were recently talking about Mr. Devin Townsend, and I finally got around to listening to his last album, Empath, which came out 2019. I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm gonna check it out. Did you get a chance to listen to the country one? I think
I did not yet. Which is like stupid that I ended up listening to the more recent one first. But it's I don't like his style of production. The production is really, really good. It's just a style that I don't like. It's very Dragon Force-y. What is it, like futuristic metal? Heavy on the synths, heavy on the synths. Like all the layering is mostly choir, vocal stuff, choir stuff, guitars, and synths. Like the synths are such a huge part of everything. And I've learned about myself, I am not that huge of a fan of just electronic sounds. Like they're fine. I don't hate them. But if I had to pick between that or orchestral sounds, going orchestral all the way, acoustic stuff all the way.
Interesting. I feel like when I started getting into Neurosis, I like finally saw the light on what electronics can do, because it's not a band where you go, oh yeah, Neurosis is electronics. Like they use it in such a way where you don't think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's a layer.
I'm like, yeah, that's, and then eventually I was like late to the game on 9 Inch Nails, but I just think like the way 9 Inch Nails uses it is fucking rad. And then a little more obscure, I haven't listened to him in a while, but there's a artist named Author and Punisher who, if people like heavy electronic music, check that guy out. It's fucking, the stuff he does is great.
So it's not, so I, for one, obviously like Neurosis and 9 Inch Nails, but I still like electronic stuff. Like, I mean, for fuck's sake, man, listen to Kraftwerk and YMO, man. Like that is
true.
Ridiculous, old, undeveloped or underdeveloped, electronic sound as it gets. But, and also I like Aphex Twin. I don't love Aphex Twin, by the way. I like Aphex Twin. There's a lot there. That would be a big episode.
There's a lot.
That would be a big episode. But like, if I get more excited when I hear strings, or if I hear, like this really live percussion. That's why I was such a huge fan of the Swans reunion, because they brought in that percussionist who had just an army of shit that he was hitting, and giant fucking bells and all this stuff that really, it was like the same way people used synths as a texture to fucking, fill up the sound, fill up the room, but just using these crazy echoey reverberations. I don't know. It's just, and it's not, I don't know. I'll have my mind changed on a case to case basis. Like I'll hear, there's some synths that I think like, holy fuck, I was not expecting that sound. That's a cool thing there. But in the traditional sense, where it has like the synth strings, where it's like the really long high pitch, like the way Faith No More uses keyboards and stuff. It's all fine, but it's just like I would not prefer that if I had to pick.
I guess also it's not like that soundscape that you're talking about, but I think another, while we're just on the topic of it, that like opened up my eyes to like electronic music, and I'm not necessarily talking about the soundscapes, but just like the genre of using electronic music, was DJ Shadow's album Introducing. It's just like the samples are so on point, and it's such a like master class in like blending samples with I'm assuming he's playing a few things here and there, but that, and like it's weird because I would say he's a hip hop guy, but like that, it rode the fence of so many genres, that album, that like I started listening to trip hop on top of that, and like getting into like the Portishead and Massive. Also, I'm a 90-year-old person because I call them the Portishead.
The Portishead, yep.
Portishead and Massive Attack, and but those bands also, like, they're bands. Like when you see them live, I saw Massive Attack two, I'm gonna say 2, maybe 3 years ago. Fucking amazing, especially because you listen to a band like that and you're like, it's so sample driven, and to see a band perform it and have it sound amazing is just it feels good.
It's a whole different level, man. The only time I ever saw Slint live, man, we got to do Slint at some point pretty soon, because that's just a band we got to do.
Dude, I threw in a pleasure episode because my birthday's coming up. You should throw in.
I will throw it in when I'll know when it's the right time. I'll know when it's the right time.
When you need it.
Yeah. When I saw them live, that was it might actually be the first time where I saw a band where it felt so accurate to the album, Spiderland, the album, and it wasn't like it sounded exactly like it, like someone was just playing the record on a PA system, but it was like recreated in a way that was super accurate. Like every note was in place, every tone was in place, but it was so fucking big. It was so loud that the way what's his name? Britt Walford, I think it's his name. The drummer. I think I'm gonna double check.
You call yourself.
Shut your fucking mouth. I'm a fan. Shut your mouth. Yeah, it's Britt Walford. He's like the mastermind behind Slint, which is weird because you never expect the drummer to be the main songwriter and mastermind. But his drums, I never heard a drum set mic like that live. He had the front, he had the bass drum, the front head completely off. There was no padding in it. It was barren. So when he hit that bass drum, it was boom, this giant fucking sound that echoed throughout the whole room. The floor shaked whenever he hit a bass drum. And it's already like a big sounding band. So it was just like, fuck, man, this is like the album is playing inside my brain. Like someone put the speakers inside my skull and played it at full blast. That's what it felt like. And there were even some things that I wasn't expecting them to do live that they did. I should probably say this on the episode, but whatever. Who gives a shit? We'll talk about it again. Where there's like a section in one song where a very low distorted guitar it fades in and then fades out. Right? Like there's a song playing and then this distorted guitar fades in for a while and then fades out. They recreated that live. They had a third guitar player on stage to recreate that fading in guitar that fades out. I was like, fuck, that's like that. The amount of care that went into that performance, I was floored, dude.
Nice. I have a Slint story, but I'm going to save it for the episode because
Oh, look at you leaving us on our toes. All right.
Yeah. I don't like repeating myself. And even though I do it a lot.
We both do, yeah. I mean, you got us. We put in fucking 140 hours of this.
I was
fucking
gonna
podcast.
say there's probably like a week's worth of just us talking.
At least, yeah. There's a lot. Yeah, no, there's far too much. Jesus Christ.
I was like trying to think of like things where I was like, you can't do that live, and I saw it and I was impressed, but I got none.
Mhm.
MF Doom passed away recently.
He sure did.
I saw him live once, and I just want to say it sounded like shit. And to anyone like, oh, I never got to see him live, you didn't miss anything.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it sounded fucking awful. It was at the El Rey.
Alex is spitting on his grave. Actually, the El Rey is where I saw fucking Slint. So it was a full circle.
There it goes.
I think
So yeah, we talk about album bands all the time. He's an album MC. He's not live.
Yeah.
artist.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. What are some really bad performances that we've seen?
Oh, I've seen bad bands. I don't know if they were shitty performances though.
Oh,
I've seen
Danzig. Just Danzig came to mind immediately.
You've seen Danzig?
I've seen him twice.
Holy shit! I think I've had like a few opportunities, but I'm like, he's probably gonna get angry they don't have like Kansas Soup or whatever. I don't want to like spend my money.
He doesn't talk about that on stage as far as we know. But like the first time I saw him, I was 13 and I was like, I talked about it on the Sam Hain episode, Salwin, whatever, how much of a big Danzig fan I was. And that was like the perfect time or perfect age to see him. So I was like, yes. And I also saw like it was like a festival. It wasn't a festival, but like had like it was one of those giant tour. It was called Blackest of the Black Tour, I believe. And like Behemoth was on there, Chimera, a bunch of fucking bands that I don't listen to.
Dude, I haven't thought about Chimera in probably 13 years, maybe longer.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a bet. I think I used to have their album.
Really?
Holy shit.
Yeah, I fucking saw them. If God knows what they sounded like, I do not remember. But I do remember Behemoth because I don't like Behemoth as a band. I mean, they're just not my style. But
I got into them late at life. I kind of enjoy what I'm hearing so far.
I've honestly, even thinking back to that show, you know, how fucking 15 years ago, I still remember that show. I was like, you know, that was like kind of a cool riff. I don't like death metal or Black Death or whatever that they are really, but like that was way too extreme for me. But even then, I was like, that's pretty cool. That's kind of cool. I kind of like that, and I was like embarrassed to admit it. But yeah, so. At that age, I couldn't possibly judge a Danzig concert fairly because I was 13, but I saw him again for free. I got a free ticket when I was like 19 or maybe, like 18. I think maybe 18. And at that point, fully credible opinion here, fully unbiased. I'm like, oh boy. I was already like at the age where I was like, I'm going to stand at the back of the room. I don't want to go near anybody. And I'm still that way now. But I was like, yeah, he's not, first of all, he's not singing to the mic. I don't know if he still does this, but Danzig no longer sings into the microphone. He just holds it like this and just sort of does this a lot. and when he does sing into the mic, it's hoarse. It's really bad. It's really bad. And even his like more recent albums, like his voice it is left town, dude. It is gone.
It's so wild when like the Misfits got together and everyone was like losing their shit.
Yeah.
This like, you guys know it's gonna sound fucking awful, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they play just fine, but Danzig, he's been touring consistently for 700 years. He's done. He's fucking done. And I like the guy. Maybe not as a guy, but as a musician, I fucking love him. But even then, man, like touring just deteriorates you. And there are like really few exceptions. Like, I mean, I not to go back to Devin Townsend, but he's been touring since he was a kid. And that motherfucker sounds incredible. Like unbelievable.
I think also after Strapping Young Lad, I think he got a little more savvy with his touring schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like he seems like a dude who takes care of himself now.
He really does. I admire him for many reasons, but like it's gonna sound so fucking vain of me. But I do like he reminds me of myself in a lot of ways because first of all, he's like a really nice guy who's super introverted, he can turn it on when he needs to, when there's a camera or there's a fucking, a crowd of people in front of him, but he's more or less a very modest and quiet, reserved guy. And I was like, I already love him just for the fact that he's a real person, like a real dude. But his technique, like he's really smart, not just with what he does musically, but his actual technique. You watch fucking vocal coaches look at his video and they're like, oh, he's doing everything right. It sounds like he's doing crazy shit, but he's just really good. He's just really good, and it sounds like he's doing. And this is a discovery that I had so recently with singing that I'm so fucking angry that I didn't know this, or I wasn't taught this, or I didn't figure this out sooner. That all these things that I thought were stylistic choices for like let's take the greats, okay? Like in my opinion, the greats, fucking Chris Cornell, Jeff Buckley, fucking Mike Patton, like the greats, all right? The people that are clearly proficient, to say the least. What I always took as stylistic choices vocally are actually them doing proper technique that sound like a stylistic choice because they have a cool voice. Mm-hmm. So what I always thought, like these weird, like for example, Jeff Buckley, when he goes fucking crazy high and he does his super high head voice and he has this really wild vibrato up there, that's him having proper form, singing like an opera singer, but that's just the way his voice sounds. Like they're all using, like Devin Townsend, when he goes super high up and it sounds like he's this fucking glorious golden god, he's singing the way an opera singer sings with proper technique, proper support, super strong diaphragmatic support. Jesus Christ, talking too fast, and great breath control. It's just that's the way his voice sounds. So it's not so much like I spent a lot of years singing, trying to avoid copying other singers, thinking that the way they're doing this is their style, when really they're just singing properly. So I ended up hurting my voice a lot and then not learning and not getting any benefits really. So long way of saying, I like them.
Also, slightly related, I remember even after playing like drums for like a year or two or taking lessons, and like I would see people who suck at their instruments and I'd be like, oh, have you ever thought about like taking lessons or maybe like researching how to whatever they're doing, singing, bass, guitar? And they'd be like, oh, well, that's just going to ruin my style. I'm like, that's just code for you suck.
Code for you suck. You need, well, so here's the thing. Like I'm self-taught for most things. Guitar is self-taught, but that's different because I started when I was 4. So that's not like, it's not really, it's not exact.
Also, your mom has like a background in music too, right?
Both, all my whole family has background in music. Everybody in my family plays, but like, so it is a little bit genetic, but like, because I was raised with it so young, I did all the wrong things, did all the okay things, and then eventually did all the right things when I was smart enough to start practicing correctly and doing the right thing. Like I just been playing for so long that I had to get good. It's like that's one of those things where like if I wasn't my skill level now, having played that long, it would be a joke. I would never touch music again. Like there'd be no excuse to not be great because I've had more years playing than like I learned how to play before I could read. So that's like I should know that. But with things like piano and violin and voice and stuff, did not grow up doing those things. So I need lessons for those things. I took like 2 years, I think, 2 years of piano, did the whole, recitals and all that stuff. And then I took like, a few months of violin and the rest by ear because I'm not as good at violin. I don't like it as much. I don't enjoy playing it as much. But for piano, like I legit had a teacher who was fucking walk me through stuff and work on my form and the way I was sitting and shit like that. So it's necessary. If you're starting, when you're a teenager, like there's no shame. In fact, you kind of need it to be great.
Yeah, the basics and fundamentals and understanding the ins and outs of how your instrument works and the foundations, that has nothing to do with style. If anything, it's just gonna make you better.
There's I think honestly, if I had to say the most important thing about having a coach or a teacher is they're the people that tell you when you're doing something wrong. And
that's true.
Without that, you're fucked. I've done so many things wrong for so many, just in life, but like musically, form wise, especially vocally, form wise, like there's so many things that I didn't know I was doing wrong because with a thing like a voice, it's so dynamic and there's so many different parts of it that you use for different things that you don't really know you're doing something wrong until it starts hurting or until you sing one song and all of a sudden your voice is gone. Like, holy shit, that shouldn't have happened. There's a lot of things that you really need someone to say like, hey, fucking stop that. Knock the fuck off. Because then you get into a habit of it and then all of a sudden you suck after like a year of doing this wrong thing.
Yeah, that's also a valid point. Like, I remember reading about the Donna's drummer. She was self-taught and she was playing wrong and she ended up like so wrong, in fact, that she had to have like surgery on her like wrists and arms. I forget the details of it, but she had to have surgery because she was playing wrong. And then guess what? She had to get a teacher anyways. And that's an extreme case.
Yeah.
That's not gonna,
right.
I'm not saying if you don't have lessons, you're gonna, fuck up your arms and wrists, but that's a extreme example of like, there are consequences for doing this poorly.
It's not just, it's an extreme example, but there's tons of cases of singers developing nodules on their voice and their larynx, throat. I don't know what part of the fucking neck it is, but in there, it's like these little fucking lumps. I think that you got to get them surgically fucked with. Adele had it, like John Mayer had it. Like famous people get these things because they fucking push it and they don't take care of themselves. And go ahead.
You know who probably has those and probably didn't get them removed? It's fucking Brent for Mastodon.
Oh.
The back of that dude's throat probably looks like fucking a dumpster.
Not to mention all the fucking drugs. Like that guy does not play. That guy doesn't play.
Dude, the fact that he doesn't sing anymore is really heartbreaking to me, and that's why I bring it up. Not because I'm trying to talk shit, but because I genuinely like miss his voice.
I actually like Brent's voice. It's unique. It's really nasally. It's really it's got this twang to it. He sounds like a country singer, but playing fucking prog metal. It's great.
Yeah, like in the early, I miss his screams.
Yeah,
but he has like his screams, and then like, yeah, he has like this Ozzy Osbourne like voice too. And I thought like, oh, well, he could still do that. But like when you see him live, he's just like,
yeah, he's mumbling a lot. He's probably high. And also those songs are, I'm like, here's one thing that I don't, and it makes me like probably seem more like an asshole and less sympathetic, but like, I don't give that much credence to like playing something difficult and being able to sing over it because I do that. Like I can play crazy shit and then sing over it. And it like, my self-esteem is so low that like if I can do it, you can fucking do it. Like I don't care. Like be good with it. And sometimes I'm not good with it. Yeah. So that's like I get it. Yeah.
That's why he gets the big bucks.
Yeah.
Or relative big bucks.
He gets the heavy metal big bucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just one last thing before we wrap up about the whole style thing. Like that really does in my years now bother me because like if you have to really focus so much on your style, you probably don't have it. And like your style should it should emanate off you. Like what comes out of you should be your style. If you're playing a thing and someone's immediately like, oh yeah, that sounds like XYZ, or maybe even literally XYZ from Rush. Like you shouldn't be able to that. I mean, you're going to get that regardless, but you should be able to fucking tell that much. There should be some authenticity to it. There should be some you in there. And the same, especially with your voice and the way you play your thing. If you're trying to sound like someone else, or if you're just so obsessed with someone else that everything you play sounds like them, then, yeah, I don't know, man. I have problems with that.
Also learning what like a fucking quarter note is and time signatures is not going to. If that hinders you creatively, there's something wrong with your brain.
It's a lot of superstition, I think, because they do that. Like, I don't want to learn how to read music because it'll taint. Like, how the fuck would you learning a skill taint your creative mind? But it's the same thing with people with alcohol and drugs. Like, oh, I'm going to lose my edge. Or if I'm not angry, I'm going to lose my edge, and therefore I'm not going to have this inspiration. Yeah. And since I just said the word inspiration, of course I have another tangent back, cocked. Inspiration is the most, because someone out on Instagram asked me about, I posted some video of me playing some little diddly, and they said, where do you get your inspiration? And I immediately thought, like, I didn't respond because I knew my response would be looked at as kind of mean or rude. And the response is inspiration to fucking get in shape. Okay, so you're gonna work out once every month? Like, inspiration is fucking useless. Fuck it.
Yeah, I agree with that mostly. The director James Gunn, who did like Guardians of the Galaxy and then like smaller films like Slither and Super.
I always forget he did Slither.
Huh?
I always forget he did Slither. That's great.
Slither is a gem of a movie, but I remember seeing an interview with him and he was asked like kind of a similar question. And they were like, what would you say to like inspiring directors? And he's like, this is going to sound mean, but like, don't aspire to be a director. Like, do what you're good at. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I just like happened to notice I was good at this and rolled with it.
Yeah.
Because if you force it, like, what, you're just going to be mediocre at it? And he's like, you should definitely like notice the work you're turning out. And like, if you just happen to be good at, whatever, like writing, do that.
Yeah.
And he found the nice, a nice avenue to address it. But it's kind of, people don't like hearing that. People don't like hearing, you can't be whatever you want to be.
Yeah. You guys suck at podcasting. You shouldn't be podcasters. We have fun. That's why we do it. God damn it. Technically, I'm a musician. Fun. That's my thing. I'm actually confident with my music and my playing. I'm not confident with podcasting. I just like it.
We have fun with it, and it goes back to the discipline thing you were talking about. We crank one out every week, whether it's bad or great.
Absolutely. That is a beautiful note to end it on. To back at the beginning of the episode, Alphabetland by X. I think you all, if you like X, alrighty.
This is a great comeback album.
Yeah. Not for newcomers. Los Angeles, 100%. But I guess that's it. Thank you all for patronizing us. We love you so fucking much. You're keeping us afloat. Honestly, you guys are really helping us through this dark time. I don't know when we should be back to in studio, quote unquote, pretty soon. Like I mentioned before, my whole house got COVID. I'm like me and one other person are the only clean ones. So we're like, we're basically hiding out in our respective caves. But it's already been 2 weeks. By the time we're back here, it'll be another week. I think everyone will be fine. Not to mention like my entire house smelling like bleach because everything is just super clean. But yeah, I really can't wait to get back in here because just the delay is driving me up the fucking wall. It's like a second, but it's a second too long. Okay. Any second away from Alex is too long. So
goddamn.
Thank you all for listening and watching. We'll see you on the main feed. See ya.